Welcome back to the Sci-Fi Mind. Today we're diving into 5 of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. Films that bend reality, challenge time, and question what it means to be human. From dreams and simulations to space and alien language, each of these stories takes us beyond imagination. So get ready, because we're about to explore cinema that doesn't just entertain. It changes how you think.
This world's a treasure, but it's been telling us to leave for a while now.
Chapter 1, Interstellar, 2014. Few films in modern cinema have managed to combine large-scale spectacle and raw human emotion as perfectly as Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Released in 2014, the film stars Matthew McConaughey as Cooper, a former NASA pilot living in a future where Earth is slowly becoming uninhabitable. Crops are dying, dust storms consume entire cities, and humanity is facing extinction. Now, on the surface, Interstellar is about space travel and black holes. But underneath all that science and cosmic imagery, it is really a story about love, sacrifice, and the painful passage of time. Cooper is recruited for a desperate mission to travel through a wormhole near Saturn in search of a new home for humanity. Leaving behind his children, especially his daughter Murph, becomes one of the most emotionally devastating moments in the entire film. And what makes it even more heartbreaking is that space itself becomes her enemy. Because of Einstein's theory of relativity, time moves differently near massive planets and black holes. 1 hour on one planet can equal years back on Earth. That concept alone gives Interstellar some of its most unforgettable scenes. Cooper returns from a mission only to discover that decades have passed for his children while he is barely aged at all. Watching him break down while viewing years of missed video messages remains one of the most powerful performances of McConaughey's career. Visually, the film is breathtaking. The black hole Gargantua, created with the help of real theoretical physicists, feels terrifyingly authentic. Hans Zimmer's legendary soundtrack elevates every emotional beat into something almost spiritual. The organ music does not just accompany the scenes, it overwhelms them. And then there's the ending. The Tesseract sequence inside the black hole transforms the film from hard science fiction into something deeply philosophical. Cooper realizes that the mysterious force communicating with Murph throughout her life was actually himself, interacting through gravity across time. Interstellar is not simply a space movie. It is a film about how love can transcend distance, time, and even dimensions themselves. And more than a decade later, it still feels like one of the most ambitious science fiction films ever created.
There's one thing you should know about me. I specialize in a very specific type of security.
Chapter 2, Inception, 2010. Christopher Nolan appears once again on this list with what might be the most intellectually addictive blockbuster ever made. Inception, released in 2010, stars Leonardo DiCaprio as Dom Cobb, a thief who specializes in entering people's dreams and stealing information directly from their subconscious minds. And yes, that premise is every bit as wild as it sounds. But what makes Inception extraordinary is how confidently it builds its own rules. Dreams have layers. Time moves differently within each level. Gravity can collapse. Entire cities can fold onto themselves. Yet somehow, despite all the complexity, the film keeps audiences emotionally invested through Cobb's tragic personal story. Cobb is haunted by the memory of his wife Mal, played brilliantly by Marion Cotillard. She appears throughout the dream world like a ghost, sabotaging his missions and reminding him of his guilt. And slowly, the audience realizes that Cobb himself is no longer entirely certain where dreams end and reality begins. That uncertainty becomes the central tension of the film. The action sequences are absolutely iconic. The rotating hallway fight scene remains one of the most innovative practical effects sequences ever filmed. The Snow Fortress assault feels like a sci-fi war movie hidden inside a psychological thriller. And all of it builds toward one of the most discussed endings in cinematic history. The spinning top. Does it fall? Does it keep spinning? Is Cobb finally back in reality, or is he still trapped in a dream? Nolan famously refuses to answer the question directly, and honestly, that is exactly why the ending works so perfectly. Inception is not really about whether the world is real. It is about whether Cobb has finally chosen to let go of his obsession and live his life. Hans Zimmer's booming soundtrack gives the film a constant sense of urgency and pressure, while Nolan's precise direction ensures that even the most complicated dream layers remain emotionally grounded. Inception is the kind of film that audiences immediately want to rewatch the second it ends. Every viewing reveals new details, new interpretations, and new theories. It is blockbuster filmmaking operating at an astonishing level of intelligence and ambition.
Before the next chapter in the trilogy is released, renew your memory.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real?
Chapter 3, The Matrix, 1999. There are very few movies that genuinely redefine an entire genre. The Matrix is one of them. Released in 1999 and directed by the Wachowskis, The Matrix stars Keanu Reeves as Neo, a lonely computer programmer who begins to suspect that something is fundamentally wrong with the world around him. That suspicion leads him to Morpheus, played with incredible charisma by Lawrence Fishburne, who offers Neo a choice between two pills. The blue pill allows him to remain inside a comfortable illusion. The red pill reveals a horrifying truth, and that truth completely changed sci-fi cinema forever. Humanity, Neo learns, has been enslaved by intelligent machines and trapped inside a massive simulated reality called the Matrix. The world everyone believes to be real is nothing more than a digital prison designed to keep humans under control. Now, what makes the Matrix so powerful is not just the concept itself, but how the film combines philosophy, cyberpunk aesthetics, martial arts, and revolutionary visual effects into one unforgettable experience. The bullet time action scenes became instantly iconic. The black trench coats and sunglasses became part of pop culture history. But underneath all the stylish action is a surprisingly deep film asking serious questions about reality, freedom, and control. Are people happier living inside comforting lies? Or is painful truth always worth pursuing? Keanu Reeves gives one of the defining performances of his career, as Neo slowly transforms from an uncertain outsider into a figure of rebellion and hope. Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith remains one of the greatest sci-fi villains ever created, delivering every line with chilling precision and barely concealed hatred for humanity. Even decades later, The Matrix still feels shockingly relevant. In a world dominated by technology, social media, artificial intelligence, and virtual identities, its questions about reality and manipulation feel more meaningful than ever before. It is not just a science fiction film. It is a cultural phenomenon.
Every civilization was built off the back of a disposable workforce. But I can only make so many. Happy birthday.
Chapter 4, Blade Runner 2049, 2017. Some sci-fi films amaze you with action. Blade Runner 2049 amazes you with atmosphere. Directed by Denis Villeneuve and released in 2017, the film serves as a sequel to Ridley Scott's original Blade Runner, while somehow managing to stand entirely on its own as a masterpiece. Ryan Gosling stars as K, a replicant working as a Blade Runner whose job is to hunt down older rogue replicants hiding within society. But during one investigation, K discovers evidence of something impossible. A replicant may have once given birth. And suddenly, everything society believes about humanity begins to collapse. Blade Runner 2049 is a slow film. It moves deliberately, patiently, allowing audiences to fully absorb its haunting futuristic world. Massive holograms tower over empty streets. Neon lights reflect through endless rain. Every frame feels carefully designed like a piece of art. Roger Deakins' cinematography is absolutely stunning. The orange desert landscapes of abandoned Las Vegas remain some of the most visually striking images in modern science fiction cinema. But beneath the visuals lies an incredibly emotional story about identity and loneliness. Kay spends the entire film searching for meaning in his existence. Is he just a machine programmed to obey orders? Or does he possess something truly human inside himself? Ryan Gosling plays the role with remarkable restraint, conveying emotion through silence, expression, and body language more than dialogue. His relationship with Joy, an artificial holographic companion, becomes surprisingly heartbreaking because the film constantly forces audiences to question whether their connection is genuine or simply another illusion created by technology. The soundtrack by Hans Zimmer and Benjamin Wallfisch creates an overwhelming atmosphere of melancholy and tension. Every sound feels heavy, industrial, and strangely beautiful. Blade Runner 2049 is not interested in fast-paced thrills. It wants audiences to sit with its ideas, its sadness, and its questions about what it truly means to be alive. And because of that, it remains one of the most emotionally mature science fiction films ever made. Science fiction has always been about more than spaceships, robots, or futuristic technology. At its best, sci-fi reflects humanity back at itself. It explores fear, hope, loneliness, love, identity, and the endless desire to understand our place in the universe. And these 5 films represent the genre at its absolute finest. From the emotional cosmic journey of Interstellar, to the layered dream world of Inception, from a philosophical rebellion of the Matrix to the haunting loneliness of Blade Runner 2049, and finally the deeply human emotional power of Arrival. Each of these films leaves audiences changed in some way. And honestly, that is the true magic of great science fiction. So let us know down in the comments which of these movies is your personal favorite. And if you enjoyed this journey through the greatest sci-fi films ever made, make sure to subscribe to the Sci-Fi Mind for more cinematic deep dives, rankings, and movie explorations.